And we had a big piece of news get revealed yesterday. And you guys might remember there was much to do about a Daily Mail headline a few weeks back that the bullet didn't match, I think was the headline, which was a complete piece of media malpractice. And we had Jay Towns on, who's a career prosecutor, has read, I guess, dozens, hundreds, maybe even ATF reports. And he's back, and we're going to start the show with him because the ATF report has been made public now, and we want his help to kind of unpack what's in there. Jay, welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. It's good to see you. Good
to be back with both of you.
So you are a career prosecutor, former U.S. attorney. You're a contributor for Newsmax, a legal contributor there. And so you have a great resume. You have a great background in this. Tell us, what new evidence do we now know about because of this ATF report?
Yeah, and as we suspected the last time we spoke, Andrew, that the ATF report and the Daily Mail headline were not going to even remotely match. And so, and then the legacy media and the tinfoil hat crowd took that to mean that it is inconclusive whether or not the fragmented bullet found in Charlie Kirk's body was fired from the .30-06 fired at the scene. They took that to mean that it did not match. In my career as a violent crimes prosecutor and as a U.S. attorney, I sat on the ATF governance board. I've read hundreds and hundreds of these ATF reports. Here's the new evidence. In addition to the fact that, as we discussed and as I predicted, that this was a .30 caliber class bullet that was found in Charlie Kirk. Why does that matter? Because a .30-06 was found at the scene, and that .30-06 has Tyler Robinson's DNA all over it. But why else does it matter? Well, the new evidence is that the .30-06 was operable. So we know that it could be fired, and that there was a fired cartridge. It was a Remington .30-06. What's interesting about that is all of the fired and unfired cartridges, they were all Remington. And so, there are bunter marks on different batches. A bunter mark is, well, I expect the next batch of evidence to be that the bunter marks will all match on those bullets, meaning they came from the same box. They came from the same crate, the pallet of those bullets. And those are marks put on the on the bullets by the manufacturer, not by the tool marking from the firearm. The final piece is that we know that the fired or the expelled shell casing, right, the one that we believe the bullet came from, we know that that shell casing was fired by that gun because of the tool marks that a gun makes when it fires a shell. It makes an imprint on the shell that is unique to that weapon. And so you fire a bunch of other shells with that weapon, and if it matches the expelled shell or the fired casing, then you know that shell casing was fired by that weapon. So, look, it is beyond a reasonable doubt. It is, to me, beyond a mathematical certainty, which is way beyond the standard of a reasonable doubt, that weapon was the one used to kill Charlie Kirk. And that the DNA all over that weapon, all over the shell casings, whether they were spent or not, the towel itself that it was all found in, the CCTV showing him egressing through that same area, right? All of that leads to Tyler Robinson. And again, the tinfoil hat crowd, they must be just unraveling this morning because they're, the tinfoil wasn't working this time, apparently.
So just to kind of put a finer point on this, you came on the show last time, Jay, and you said the dog that didn't bark in that defense motion, which led to all of those crazy headlines, was the fact that the defense did not reference the caliber of the round in question. And you said,
correct,
that to me is a dead tell that this was a .30 caliber round. Which was everybody on all the naysayers are saying that this couldn't have been a .30-06. You're saying this report clearly says that was a .30 caliber round, which is what a .30-06 would be.
100%. And I would also say that the dog that didn't bite, what we've seen become public is that the defense and the state had motions in December and January, all referencing the .30 caliber class round that was taken at autopsy.
Wow.
And it references the September of 2025 ATF report, where it talks about all of the evidence that I just mentioned, to include and especially the 30 caliber round. So we were, I mean, look, saying result of comparison was inconclusive. The other thing they didn't say was that in that same paragraph, quote, could not be identified or excluded from the 30-06. They left that out too, and let the media sow the doubt that they so desperately need. But once we see the report and experts testify about the report, there really is no doubt that was the weapon that killed, that was fired to kill Charlie Kirk.
Blake?
Yeah, so it is interesting to me that we got this because we got a defense motion back in December, and I guess it's a long motion, but if you've had a chance to look at it, it's the defense seems to be making requests about their right to examine that, like be present while they're examining the bullet or something like that. Have you gotten a chance to read that? Can you describe what they're looking for in this motion?
Yeah, so think about this in terms of any evidence, right? So when we test evidence, we lose evidence, whether it's DNA, whether it's fingerprints, or in this case, we're talking about virtual comparison microscopy, where you actually are taking, remember, you have a bullet that has been mushroomed, right, and fragmented. They want to pull that mushroom back up so they can look underneath it to see if they can see striations that would match the barreling on that 30-06. Well, it's possible that when they pull it up, it snaps, breaks, and the evidence then, there's less of it at that point, and that is their objection to it. My personal opinion, we don't need to do the VCM testing at this point. I mean, there's just no doubt that that was the weapon that fired the round that killed Charlie Kirk. Now, I mean, you can go happy to glad all day in evidence, but that's essentially what that motion was about. They also mentioned that they thought that there would be exculpatory evidence that they could come up with. I'm trying to find it. I don't know what it would be. You know, there's not an expert in the world that is credible that would testify that this wasn't a 30 caliber class round, because all you do is measure the diameter of what is a very intact diameter of the base of that round that was found at Charlie, right? So that's easy. It's not a 22 caliber class that came from a 223 or a M16, for instance, a 22 rifle. And so it was a 30 caliber class, 30-06, DNA all over it. There's just too many straight lines that lead to Tyler Robinson. And we haven't even started talking about all the admissions that he has made in writing to friends and to his lover, Twigs.
Charlie loved this country, and he loved partnering with organizations that truly stand for what makes America great. One of our most trusted partners, AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is doing something special in Charlie's honor. AMAC is offering free memberships to all ages. No credit card, no strings attached, just a chance to stand for faith, family, and freedom. Join this movement. Go to amac.us/Charlie today. That is amac.us/Charlie today. Jay, your level of expertise on this stuff and the ATF reports specifically are so important right now. So I'm just going to read a few lines from this Fox article that they came out, and they're now reporting on this. So they said that the alcohol, tobacco, firearms, explosives that could not conclusively match a bullet fragment to the suspected murder weapon, but confirmed a match with the spent casing. Okay, so the bullet gets destroyed. It makes sense that, you know, it's so badly damaged that, you know, there might be limitations on what you can do with those fragments. But they can confirm it's a 30 cal, and they can confirm a match with the spent casing. In your opinion, your legal opinion, trying cases like this, how important is the spent casing? Because a lot's been made about the jacket of the bullet, the lead, or whatever. How important is that casing?
Well, both of those pieces of evidence are devastating to Tyler Robinson. When the ATF is the absolute best in the world at firearms and tool mark expert reports, firearms and tool mark expert reports. And what they look for as it relates to the round is the caliber class of the round and the striations, the rifling characteristics that may or may not exist on that round at the time that it's recovered. They don't exist as of yet, unless they can do the virtual comparison microscopy. They don't exist yet on that round. So, okay, so we know the class of the bullet. Well, what about the shell casing? Do we have it? Yes, we do. Okay, well, when that weapon fires that round, it impacts with the shell casing, and it creates tool marks on the base of that shell casing. That was matched to this rifle. So we know that that shell casing, the bullet that was in it, was fired by that rifle, and we know that that rifle was operable. All of that is incredibly important if you're going to suggest, or the defense is going to be, that it was a different weapon, right? Or it was a different type of weapon, a 22 caliber class, you know, an M16 instead of a 30-06 Mauser. So ATF again, and don't forget, before people start now shifting their tinfoil hats and twisting their mustache from, well, maybe it was that rifle, but you know, the ATF they've somehow corrupted the evidence. There is a chain of custody from the medical examiner to the autopsy to local law enforcement to the ATF and all the way back. So all of this has been photographed from the very beginning to the very end under a microscope, and so there's nobody that's going to be able to come in and say, well, that's not the round they pulled from his body, it was something else. Again, the evidence matters. The rules of evidence matters. The way we conduct ourselves in our criminal justice system is incredibly important, and it is hard to prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt. And I've done it over 100 times. I've prosecuted well over 10,000 defendants, most of them to pleas, and it's incredibly difficult standard. And so you can't have those little lapses in evidence. That's why the ATF is so reliable. They are the best in the business. And this evidence, this report, which the defense counsel knew in September, I'm guaranteeing, at least by November of last year, is devastating to Tyler Robinson.
Jay, I want to ask about another piece of evidence that came out about a week ago. We got sort of an itemized list of all of the evidence they found when they were searching Tyler Robinson's home. Among other things, FBI agents found a handwritten letter that he gave to Lance Twiggs, the person he was in that relationship with, said, among other things, Luna, which is what he called him. If you are reading this per my text, I am sorry. I left the house this morning on a mission and sent an auto text. I am likely dead or facing a lengthy prison sentence. I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I took it. I don't know if I will or have succeeded, but I hoped to make it home to you. It goes on like this for a while, ends, I love you always, Tyler. I guess this seems like a smoking gun. Like, what possibly could the defense do in the face of something like this? What do you, as a prosecutor, have you seen defense teams try to get out of something like this?
Well, I mean, you know, I mean, let's presume that they're going to attack that Tyler Robinson wrote that note at all. But again, the evidence against Tyler Robinson is so overwhelming that allowing the Daily Mail or some of these bloggers online with podcasts to go ahead and try to sow doubt about the weapon or about some other person being involved, you know, that is really the best defense, that and delay. Because the actual physical evidence, the scientific evidence, the forensic evidence, the investigative evidence is overwhelming against Tyler Robinson. I don't know what's on that list. If the Dremel, you know, remember there's little markings, engravings on the actual shell casings. I don't know if the Dremel was found, but let's just say that it was. I bet you that the next time you have me on your show, that there will be DNA, Tyler Robinson's DNA, found on that Dremel tool that carved whatever those messages were into the shell casings. I don't know if they found a Dremel or not, but if they did, that's just more, you know, in the planning that went into this, and the effort and the time that it took, the diabolical nature of Tyler Robinson, that's all coming out. Folks, he did it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the ball game. And I say that as a professional prosecutor for 30 years.
Jay, you know, I think about, you said the best defense that they have is either to delay, which is what they did with that defense motion, which led to the whole, that's what they were asking for, which led to the whole Daily Mail debacle. And so I guess my question is, or they're going to point to somebody else being involved. Which there is evidence that people seem to know in advance that Charlie was going to that there were going to be an attack on his life that day. There seems to be ample evidence of that. So apparently there's still open investigations on those fronts. What would that do if they did find somebody else had advanced knowledge and didn't inform the police, or maybe tried to radicalize them? Would that be a helpful thing for the defense? I just want to know what that means in the trial.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be helpful for the defense. Remember, there's a very big difference between I knew and said nothing and I somehow engaged in acts in furtherance of the murder, right? Even if you gave somebody a ride or dropped them off or helped them hide something, that would all be part of what would be legally a conspiracy at that point. So those two things are very different, and it's very responsible of the Bureau and the ATF to be tracking that evidence down in the state of Utah. But I don't know that it matters much for Tyler Robinson if there's 200 more people involved as far as his defense goes. It matters to us, matters to Erica, it matters to America. But Tyler Robinson's fate, I think, was sealed the moment. Certainly the moment he pulled the trigger. But the moment that the FBI and the ATF engaged and started doing their job, that's when Tyler Robinson's fate was sealed, because those are the best in the world.
Jay, last question, 10 seconds here, 5 seconds really. Do you think he's going to plead? Is that your prediction?
No, I think that they're going to seek the death penalty, and there's no plea to a death penalty case. So he's going to have to suffer through a trial and see if a jury gives him death. He deserves it.